One last question before we let you go. We always everybody busts Chris Stefano's balls because I think every single comic in the world was in Crashing except for Chris Stefano. Why was Chris Stefano not in Crashing? It's because you hate his guts. Subscribe to the podcast, KFC Radio on YouTube.
Bang.
I like those guys.
Yeah, they're funny. They're clowns.
You know when someone reminds you of someone you used to know and you're like,
yep.
I was listening to you, by the way. They're clowns. I heard you.
Yeah.
It's one of my pet peeves. You say something, then I say something.
Is it my turn to talk yet? Okay, good.
I Leno'd you. But he looks like someone I used to know
Which one?
In Chicago. Unfortunately, they didn't remind me their names, so I didn't get it.
The long hair guy or
Beard guy.
Yeah. Beard guy, the Dan. And he's actually from Chicago, so that makes
Could
sense.
have been him. Yeah. Could have been him for all you know.
What if you were like, his name is Jeff Sienna?
That would have been great.
I'd be like, oh, he didn't just remind me of the guy. He is
you
the
had
guy.
a whole interview with a guy that you knew.
I mean, if that was Jeff Sienna, I would have loved to catch up. The people that you start comedy with, it's like those are your Foxhole buddies.
Yeah, right.
I don't mean to say it was the same.
No, but it really like the in getting to talk to so many comedians now, the whole industry together. You guys all kind of stick together, but the people that you were your class, if you will, it's like you would murder a person for these other people. You know,
absolutely, and also, well, not literally.
Absolutely.
These days, that's the Instagram.
You can't do anything.
Holmes is a murderer. You can't even murder anybody anymore. Also, the people that were ahead of you. So let's say I was a freshman. I was a freshman with Kumail and Mulaney and lots of wonderful people.
Decent squad.
Yeah, it was actually like an absurdly great squad. Hannibal, just an absurdly great squad. And then if there are people that are sophomores, juniors, or seniors, they're always sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Right, in your mind.
Like I'll never, yes, in my mind.
Right.
I'll never big time, not that I would, but like you'll never look
doesn't matter
down.
what your success is, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
You are ahead of me.
Right.
You'll always be
Which is
older
funny
than
because
me.
like, you know, let's say you've had more success or you're doing a show and they're not,
Yes.
but it's like you'll always be like.
That's why it's so hard to come up with an example right now. Because if I say, like,
would
blah,
be-
blah, blah, I'd be like, I've lapped that dude 5 times. And I still show him respect.
Can you believe it? I don't even spit in his face when I see him. I shake his hand and say hello.
I give him a noogie. Actually, nothing makes me sadder. This is real talk. When if I go somewhere where they used to be mean to me, like let's say a club, and now they're nice,
I would hate that.
It
I would
makes
be
you
like, no,
feel
fuck you guys.
sad and alone. You could go angry, and I don't quite get to anger, but it just reminds you of. I don't know, man. Like this is the dark side of show business as a whole.
Sure,
is like it's a business that like being like I love you puts food in your mouth. Pretending to love somebody. What I mean is they don't love me now, and they didn't hate me then.
Right,
we were just sort of a plant.
Yes. Right. No, you're right.
And now we talk this way to this plant, but you were always peanuts on the bar.
Right.
But now this peanut. More people come and watch that peanut, so it'll be nice. I completely get it.
Sure.
It just reminds me of a side of myself and a side of all of us where we can be fake.
Well, really, you should do though.
That makes sense. And actually, even you explaining it is quite depressing.
It's sad.
That peanut. I'm just picturing a sad peanut on a bar, and it's really, really depressing.
Mr. Peanut, he takes out the monocle. He's crying.
Peanut's like,
like peanut butter comes out. You're already salty. You don't need to cry anymore.
That's the funny guy.
I mean,
you said something there where you're like, I don't get angry. What gets you angry?
Yeah, I don't feel like you get angry much. Do you?
Come on.
Well, when I'll
define
say
anger.
This.
What do you do when you're angry? Are you like, shucks?
I vent.
Okay.
Shucks. I go and the hoop that I'm sticking down the wheel. I'll just leave that on the street. I'll look at my dog. You know what gets me mad, and you guys might relate to this because I'm assuming you work with advertisers. If an advertiser emails me and says, "What were the ratings?" Even though that wasn't part of the deal, I get really
good. You should
not to them.
No,
I just write back.
Oh, of course.
I immediately tuck my tail and I'm just like, I'm so pleased to report that we're on track to hit. Like no one knows, or if they say you read the wrong copy. Like this has happened to me a few times on my podcast. I immediately see red and I'm like,
I hate that.
You know what it is? Like, for real? I've given it a lot of thought because it's such a trigger for me, is I think my mom loved me too much. And she made me believe, and I love my mom, and it's one of the reasons I'm a comedian, is because she fluffed me up so much.
You're the prettiest boy in school. You're the most handsome boy in the world.
So if an advertiser emails me and goes, you actually said 10%, it's actually 20% off.
I hate that.
I go like... In my mind, I'm like, my mom said you should be lucky that I'm even saying your name.
You know what is so funny? I'm experiencing this now with my mom as a grandma, and I made the horrible mistake of telling her my daughter, I have a 6 and a 4-year-old. My daughter got like her first report card. And my daughter is pretty, like, she's pretty advanced and pretty cool, and there's like, she should have gotten straight A's, if you will. And I'm
already there. My daughter's 3.5, and I'm already like, you gave her a B?
So that's, she got like a needs and, no, not even. I think she just got a satisfactory instead of like all of the time.
I'm already livid, and it hasn't happened to me
And
yet.
I told my mom that, and she was like, are you kidding me? They should be lucky to be graced by her and
this is your daughter in the future with a podcast going like, you should kiss my ass.
Yes.
As I'm thinking about it, I'm like, they gave me money to say something.
Right.
I didn't say it.
Right.
And I'm like, you should
also,
still give me money.
They're so, like, sometimes they're pretty picky where it's like, all right.
I've had that happen.
I say 10%. I get that that's not the best deal because it's more, but if they're going to go, they're going to do it, and they're going to say 20%. Yeah, it's like.
Have you done that? I've done it too, where I'm like, but I read 95% of the 99% of the ads.
That's a good grade. That's a good grade.
I got an A+.
What they should do is like, okay, if you want to give me 95% of the money, okay, but I shouldn't have to do a whole new one because I screwed up one little bit of one. You should get a 5% extra.
And I feel like it's capitalizing, as they should, on the fact that they know that it's just you talking for 60 seconds.
Yeah, it's not.
You can conceptualize that.
Easiest money in
and
the
be
world.
Like, yes, but I'm exposing your product to this many people, but they're like, but you're also just talking for 60 seconds.
I've thought about a lot.
So just and that's what calms me down. I go, wait, I'm just talking for 60 seconds.
What it is though, and I've figured out how to spin this to argue our point, is like when we read an ad read, it's not hard. We're not grinding. We're just reading an ad read, but it's the audience that we're delivering that we did grind for. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not working hard right now doing your ad read. I worked hard to have the audience to make it even matter that we did.
You're giving me the Kobe Bryant contract.
You're paying me for my past work.
You know I'm at the end of my rope, and I'm probably not going to win a championship, but I had a hell of a career, and I'll take $40 million a year, please. Thank you very much.
You earned it. Yeah, but I still,
I mean, some of the people who are with the really, really successful podcasts are reading 60-second ad reads and probably making like $100,000, and it's fucking insane to think that.
I thought about it. At a certain point, there has to be a cap. I know this probably isn't
a bubble, no. I think people. I mean, like a plateau, a bubble, something.
I took my ratings and then my rate, and then somebody told me Rogan gets 11 million or something.
Right.
So I was like,
it's like
okay, and I'm putting it in the calculator. I'm like, so it's 100 billion. Every time he says MeUndies.com/weird, he gets $100 billion. And I was like, you can't.
It's gotta. Yeah, I think.
You can't.
It's just not possible, right?
But that.
I mean, the CPM thing is a formula, so I guess you could just plug the numbers in. But
here's
at
hoping
some point,
you and I both find out at some point.
Amen,
like, actually, your numbers are so big, we have to cap it. And that's why this is going to sound forced, but on How We Roll, I'd be on the set, right? So it's about bowling. Would be in a bowling alley, and the ads would be fake. Right, so this is what we're talking about. It's like it wouldn't say Coca-Cola Classic, but let's say it does.
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't understand. Why not go to Coca-Cola? Because I love the show. I'm like, you maybe get another writer or a guest star if we say Coca-Cola. Sure. Why not? Because 4 million people watched our premiere. That's a lot of eyeballs, right?
Congrats,
it was huge. It's great.
One of them.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, my friend. I really mean
got
that.
you. Come on.
I love this show, and I love working on it so much. I'm really...
It made me cry.
He cried.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
I get that a lot.
Do you?
I cried episode 1. I got a lot going on in my life right now.
I'm not going to give you full credit.
We all do.
I'm on the edge at all times right now, and I got a little edge when
How We Roll
when you got your third horseshoe. Yeah.
Well, they took the take where I cried a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, who doesn't have a lot going on?
That's true.
We all
That's why
do.
these kind of shows hit, you know.
And these shows, especially about a family supporting somebody, the show would be totally different if my character Tom Smallwood was like, "I want to be a bowler, deal with it," and just like went out and did it.
Sure.
It's not that. It's he kind of believes in himself. That's so many of us
Yeah.
kind of believe in ourselves.
So relatable.
But you need someone else to be like, go.
You
for it.
need a lot of people to be like, go for it.
Well, that's why it's how we roll. It's not how I roll.
Yeah.
I mean, there could have been the how I roll show.
Yeah.
That's what it's like being a comedian.
Right.
He's like, I got in
You're
my
all alone.
Subaru and I drove to Minneapolis and I asked the club owner for a shot.
Yeah.
It's all you.
Right.
This is all about a family, and it's about his coach. It's about his friends. It's about Michigan.
And true story,
And
right?
it's a true
So
story.
that always helps too, because it's like a lot of sitcoms are just like, oh yeah, there's a husband and a wife and a kid into this, and it's like, but this one really happened,
I
so it's
love-
not just
Yes.
a Hollywood script.
Brian Darcy James, who's a wonderful actor, who was the original King George in Hamilton, which I think is the coolest.
Yeah.
He produced the
He
show.
was the original? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the original. And then I think he left and then it blew up, which I think is really funny. I think he jokes that he's the Pete Best.
The best one. Yeah, I know, that hurts.
Sort of
Yeah.
right before
Yeah.
the ship came in. But he had the idea. He found the story. He's from Saginaw, Michigan. He knew about Tom, and then Mark Gross, the wonderful stand-up, wrote it. But yeah, it's. I think it is the story we need right now. A lot of people were crying.
You're also breaking Hollywood norms in the sense that you're huge. And
You mean tall?
Tall. And
all the-
Tommy
yeah.
Smallwood is 5'6".
No, I know. The Robert Smith, the bowler, not the guy from The Cure. he came and he coached me, and I think in bowling. And the first thing he said, he was like, "You have like 4 feet on the real Tom," and you know,
And 4 feet on like every actor in Hollywood.
That's what I was
I
like,
know.
you're like the
Everybody
anti-Jack
is
Reacher. Like, it's not Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher. It's Pete Holmes
I'm the
playing
new
Tom
Jack
Smallwood.
Reacher.
Yeah.
we flipped it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised that that's never been an issue. As much as we all grew up hearing about Tom Cruise and his actresses had to be a certain height or whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's true of everybody. You're matching to the lead, no matter who it is. It's
Ain't
never
nobody
been an
matching
issue.
you, brother.
Well, Shy McBride, who plays my coach, he's 6'5".
Yeah.
I'm 6'5"
Oh,
and a
that's
half.
good.
I do.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you guys kind of eyed up,
Yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, "Ooh, this is some Hollywood magic."
It's never-
There's
yeah.
no way there's 2 6'5"
It's
people.
never happened in my career. You know, it actually came to mind because you guys have me a little bit lower than you.
Yeah,
I've
you
noticed.
can- you can-
We
No,
did. We
no,
did
no,
that.
these are
We
different
did that
chairs.
because
'Cause I'm tall.
recently
We wanted to dominate and
We
establish
did it-
dominance.
because recently someone came up to me in a bar and said, "You look like one of the
So
people." He said, "You're one of the only people I've ever seen who are taller and skinnier on camera." So then,
Right to his face.
in
Right
person.
to your face.
so then yesterday when we were recording the podcast, someone gave the idea I should have the chair lower. So I kind of did a sneaky little.
So now you'll surprise people.
yeah. Now,
Oh
now
my
people see
gosh.
they go, "Whoa, you look a little bigger than we
Yeah,
thought."
but
Now, but people on the internet are gonna be like, "You look, you tiny little bitch."
I was going to say, more people are seeing you on
Yes.
the internet than they're
I'm a
seeing you in
completely
bar.
normal sized
that's
person.
one of the
I'm above
questions-
average sized, in fact.
You're
can vouch.
way above average.
I can vouch.
One of the questions we've asked is, would you rather look good in person or look better than you do look in
I
person
see.
or on
Photographs.
the internet or
Or on the
photograph? Yeah,
internet.
and I think nowadays I would probably pick the internet, which is a sad thought. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna many more people. I see like 5 people in person total. I see like these guys and my family. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. But I'm
Well,
on the
yeah.
internet all the goddamn
You
time.
got the
so
Philip K. Dick kind of sci-fi angle of like, that is reality.
that's life now. Yeah,
right.
like where does all of a sudden it flips? It's like
Yeah.
I'll be hot in the metaverse.
I sound like such an old person, but I
Still
was
want
once
that
on
in
a
person.
Well, I would go in person.
Yeah.
Because I'm I'm trying to opt out as much as I can from like only living
Sure.
online.
Sure.
But that's like a luxury now. It's like saying you fly private.
Yeah,
Right.
Like
right.
I post and ghost on my social. Like you can follow me and you'll see where I'm performing and all that sort of stuff. But I used to. This is me on Instagram, and I'm not proud to admit this. Fuck you. Fuck you.
yeah, yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck. That's all, my friends.
Bad. Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Moshe. Fuck you. That looks like a delicious meal I didn't get to eat.
Yeah.
And
It's hard.
I don't think that's what my wife
not
is
healthy.
doing. Val is on Instagram Like, and she's like, "Oh, Melissa's pregnant," like
look at this
very
this
sweet
recipe, and look at this.
I was doing, and then I'd go to my messages and the randos.
Then forget about it.
you do that? What are you nuts?
That's just like, and then I put my hand in the fire. It's like, why?
It is. Yeah. It's putting your head out the window of a very busy street, and if you listen carefully, someone's like, "I love you," and you're like, "Oh, okay." And someone's like, "You should die," and worse, someone's like, "I'm going to kill," or something like that, like weird shit. And I was like, it's an 8-ball. I'm not a drug guy, but it's an upper and a downer at the same time. Yeah. And you realize, my great spiritual teacher, Richard Rohr, taught me, it's actually psychology. He's like, a good compliment. If I go, "You are a handsome man," you are a handsome man.
Thank you, sir. You are too. You got the height, the hair, the eyes. Beautiful. You're beautiful.
Now we've both had a compliment, right? Notice I didn't pick you. I'm just kidding. You're a very handsome man.
Don't worry, I did.
No, you're a very handsome man.
Don't worry, I did, and I'll never forget.
Well, that's actually my point. A negative, this is the velcro-teflon theory, right? Velcro, negative. Let's say you are handsome. For real. Handsome man.
Thank you.
Should have seen him a week ago.
I'm really locking on to you and making sure you hear that. But if I say you suck, I'm not saying that, but if I say you suck, that sticks like Velcro. There's something about our psychology. It just
negative is always going to stay in your brain.
The brain. Look at the trash fires that get movements started in this country. They know on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, that if they can incite you, I'm not saying they do it on purpose, but the medium itself does it. You'll stay on much longer. It's a much hotter energy than if somebody. And I noticed I'd read 3 messages. Literally, "I love you. I was going through a dark time in my life. Your comedy made a difference to me." And I'm not saying it didn't mean anything, but the Velcro-Teflon theory is that's Teflon. Like, someone says, "I love you," it slides right off. Unless you take, I believe it's 15 seconds to consciously, savor it.
Yeah, the fact that someone got on, found your name, wrote you the thing.
And that's what I do when I'm doing stand-up and I don't feel like it. I'm like, you have to remember these are human beings. Each and every one of them got a sitter. Paid their money. A lot of them work jobs. One of the saddest things is how many of us are working jobs we don't like to get money that we then pay to do things that we do like. I always go right to we used to just be in a meadow. You know what I mean? And there was fruit and animals all around. And somebody got the idea to be like, well, I'm faster and stronger, so I'll hoard and then I'll give it to you. And then, why don't you go sweep those leaves with a palm branch? Yeah. And this is just the norm now. So anyway, all that aside, I go, some of these people hauled ass, ripped ass. I like saying ripped ass. I know it means farted. They ripped ass at a job that they didn't like, and they saved up that money to come out and see me, and I don't fucking feel like it. It's like George on Seinfeld. I don't have a job. I'm single. You have dish. Details. Get in the fucking mood.
Right,
that's how I get in touch with gratitude and trying to be present, and also just I don't know. I'm a big believer in gratitude, but I will tell you.
Well, I mean, especially for comics, so you guys, I'm always so impressed when I look at the tour dates you guys put up. It's just thousands of days. It looks like, and
a lot of those guys, I imagine
8 days a week. It's
hard
crazy.
to stay. It's hard to let it be special because it stops being special.
Well, I kind of experienced it for really the first time. We do a live podcast, very different from stand up. But we did 2 shows at the Wilbur. And
that's not that different.
But it is in the sense that we don't have a routine that we know we're going to deliver. It's still pretty freestyling, right? So the first show, I had this funny story happen to me earlier in the day, and I told the story at the first show, and it was very funny. Everybody was laughing. I loved telling it. And the second time, 1 hour later, I wasn't into telling it. I was like, I already told this part, and the crowd was kind of laughing, and I was like, that was just twice that I had to redo something, let alone hundreds of times that you guys do.
It's very empathetic of you picking up on that. So this is what's interesting about the quarantine for me for the past couple of years, right? It doesn't even matter if you have a dream job. I have my dream job. I'm a comedian. I can't believe it. I love it. It's unbelievable. I'm so grateful. And even as a comedian, during that time, I did what everybody did, which was, what don't I like in my life and how would I change it? We all got this reminder of our mortality, and we all had this time where we were locked away and kind of isolated to rethink our lives. And that's why
I got to be honest, I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was going to say, we all had the time to do it, whether or not we did it.
Yeah, I had the time.
You were never washing a dish, just going
I didn't do a thing. I didn't have any.
But also, it's because our lives are basically
Perfect.
permanent quarantines.
It is.
That's not that much different.
I really, truly. Now we didn't quarantine very long. We didn't
Yeah,
quarantine for as
we
long
kinda
as
got
the rest
back
of the world
out
did.
there.
We were there
I see.
I think we did 2 months of before we were back in the office.
You need more than that to break.
And so I was just like, I was cool.
we
was
were in LA
Years.
long,
Years.
long
You guys are
time.
still in it.
I'm actually at home right now. But it's like it was a long time. But like that's why I feel How We Roll is a timely show about going for a dream. That's why you're getting emotional. I think at least in part is like so many people that I know used the quarantine or were forced by the quarantine to go like, wait a minute, what am I doing? And they know if they're going to make a change, it doesn't have to be going for a dream like becoming a bowler or becoming a comedian, but any change, you're fucked if you don't have support.
Yes.
And that's why when Katie Lowe's, who plays my wife, is like, no, you have to do this. And my son is like, you have to do this. And my coach is like, you have to do this. And then finally my character basically relents. Under what? It's like snapping under love. We need to see that.
Right.
It's funny, the shows we were watching before the world got as wild as it is, it was all like pot boilers. It was all like, I loved watching Breaking Bad and stuff. Now I'm like, can I just see Ted Lasso?
good-
Our show is like Ted Lasso.
That's why Ted Lasso
It's like-
really hit.
It killed. I think that the quarantine or the pandemic, whatever, did kill the age of the antihero, which lasted 30 years.
It did.
It started with Tony.
Everybody
don't
liked
wanna
the
see
bad
Tony.
guy a little bit.
Yes.
And then we got Schitt's Creek, and we were like, wait, characters can be awesome and nice and
Yes.
grow
Yes.
and like get better every season. And then Ted Lasso
Lasso.
got us there.
And our show is, I don't want to flatter ourselves and say it's exactly like Ted Lasso, but it's in the spirit of Ted Lasso. It's an underserviced sport that you think they're going to make fun of. Like I thought Ted Lasso, we're going to have a lot of soccer jokes.
Yeah.
No, it's
bowling,
there's 90% of the world loves the sport. Let's show America why.
Yeah.
And then also bowling, I thought it was all going to be like, I got greasy fingers from the chicken wings, and it isn't that.
Right.
Like the bowling alley also is just like this excuse to be together.
Right.
Which I think also from the quarantine, we're like, this podcast, look, I love promoting it, but this is my favorite part, is being with people. And as a lone wolf sounds cool. I just mean like I can be a little bit introverted.
Also could sound dangerous, lone wolf.
Yes, exactly.
Let's stay away from that one.
As an
He was a nice
isolated-
guy. Turned out he was a lone wolf.
As a recluse who just stays in his apartment most of the time. No, but like I sort of need my job to force me into community.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do that. And also my hobby is my job. So stand-up comedy and bowling are similar. It's these places you go. I love that tonight if I go to the Cellar with Birbiglia tonight, we'll see people we know. And that's the point. Like I actually think, not to get too existential, this whole thing, and I'm gesturing to reality, is an excuse to be together. And now I am getting a little woo-woo, but I'm just saying.
No, I agree with that. I very strongly agree with that.
If you think that there was an indivisible source of life, right, the energy that animates all things, most of history is called this God, but we
Right.
don't have to.
Whatever it is,
You
yeah.
say there was a beginning. There was one thing and it was by itself, and the one becomes many. The point of life is life.
Right.
The point of life is even you and I having a disagreement,
Sure.
or you and I falling in love with the same person. We want it all.
Right.
I'm trying to do this bit where I'm like, when you're running late for a flight and you're like, where are my keys?
just did it.
Yeah, where are my keys? I got the fucking Uber's here, and you're panicking. Don't you kind of love it? Isn't there something deep down? Because when you were a kid, that's what you did. You pretended that you had somewhere to be and that you were late. You wanted conflict and you wanted a goal.
Right.
Just like a movie.
Right.
You want a goal and a conflict. So now you're doing it. So even as you're
That's
stressing
just life,
out,
man. Yeah.
you're like, I'm a grown-up.
I'm doing
Kind
it.
of love it.
We had exactly happened recently, and I did feel accomplished when I got on the plane.
Yeah, I was
we
out
were,
of gas. And I
sprinted
couldn't
to an
breathe, but
airport and
yeah.
all that
The
shit.
whole-
It's like, we did it. We did it, man.
Valerie and I, we talk about this all the time. We were in Chicago and we were running late for a flight, and I'm really lame, or you could say very efficient, meaning I don't mess around. If my flight is at 7 and I get an email from Delta, they're like, hey, it's spring break, so you might want to get there early. I get there early.
Yeah. You're a father. I get
It's
it.
a gift. And also a father, but I was traveling alone. I came here alone because
But once you become a father, it doesn't matter. You're a
true.
You're a father
true.
at all times.
But when you're a
you're never an
comedian,
off-duty cop.
and if you don't get to the show doesn't happen, and you don't get paid.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
can't pay your rent. You learn to get to the airport really early. Now I do it because I want to be the chill guy. I love
Yeah.
going to the airport.
Like,
and
I got all
letting
the time in
someone
the
I
go
love
in
the
front of
airport
me.
too, and I still don't do it early. Like I love hanging out at the bar at the airport or just kind of
great.
meandering
Yeah.
around
Get
the
a
airport.
drink, get
some
And
food.
I still fucking sit on my couch.
Yeah.
Do not even the TV on. Just being
just
like,
sitting there.
I just sit and scroll and be like, I still got 5 minutes till I have to leave. It doesn't make any sense.
That might
at
be
all.
an unconscious desire for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You like
you
the
like
chaos.
the
Yeah,
drama.
yeah.
Love the
It's like when
chaos.
you unconsciously keep dating the same type of person that hates you.
brother.
Why do you do that?
You're cutting deep so often. This is like the fifth
Yeah,
time.
you don't
that I'm
even
like,
know what
"Oh,
you're hitting.
Like you're like a psychiatrist, man. Forget about the comedy and the acting.
And he
There's
was
been like
fucking
6
katana
times.
blades over here.
Just dicing me up, man. Fucking hey. Holy moly.
Well, I think we like everything.
But
secretly.
also, I don't. I also thrive in conflict in a sense where because I've been working out more recently. I was telling the story how I jump rope on my back porch, but I don't really like listening to music, so I listen to comedy albums.
Uh-huh.
And one I've been listening to is yours and your newest one. And forgive me, I forget the name because I think Spotify.
Dirty Clean.
Spotify fucked
took
us
it off.
with that. Cause,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if they took it. I just meant like you kind of don't even
Why did
check
they take it
album
off?
titles anymore.
You listen to it on Spotify?
Yeah, I just
Oh,
kind of
that's
hit
good
play
news.
and put it away, and I work out. But
I thought
so
it was all off. They had that. I didn't mean to
this
interrupt.
was in the last few months.
Okay, then it's back.
But, okay.
Hey, great.
And so
But listen.
it's actually I look like an insane person on my porch because I jump rope and
you're
sometimes I'm
cackling,
and I'm like
laughing.
and I'm laughing and I like
Talk about a lone wolf. That's fucking psychopathic.
That's Lone Wolf.
Yeah.
That's when
sometimes-
we saw that we should have known.
Yeah, like then you, when you stop, you start cleaning your gun.
sometimes I'll accidentally like hit myself in the toe and it'll hurt, so I'll be like, ah, fuck! It's insane. It's insane. But
That's
I
a
believe
great
it's
bit.
in that special that you have a joke about how you don't give a shit about traffic. When people get angry and they're like, oh, traffic sucks. I'm like,
when did that happen for you?
Now I like this bit more because it's like actually you like it.
yeah,
Like that's the
yeah,
next
yeah.
step. Is it's not just that you don't
I-
mind it, and even if you hate it, you love hating it.
When I was like,
Because you're alive.
I just
Yeah.
love I'm like when people are like changing lanes, I'm like, what are you doing? Who fucking
You love it.
I hate
When you-
Waze. When we'll
hate
get off the highway and we'll go on a rural route and hit red lights all
No.
the time. Like, why don't we just
Especially-
fucking sit here?
Waze hates me. Somebody showed me at the Waze corporate headquarters. They have my face on their trash bin. And it says like Pete Holmes suggestion file. Somebody texted it.
What?
I don't know if it's still there.
no,
Yeah.
fuck you,
I-
Waze.
I-
Insane.
I was.
I've always hated Waze. I hate Waze a lot more
Google
now.
Maps, bro. I have
like
Google Maps for life.
too. Sorry, suck it, Waze.
Yeah.
The reason I hate Waze is because
Good luck without us three.
It's what's wrong with the human brain actually is that like instead of sitting for 2 minutes in traffic, you'll save those 2 minutes
fucking-
by careening through a
Yeah.
residential neighborhood. The last time I used Waze, real, I ran over a skateboard. Like there was a skateboard rolling into the road and I ran it over. I'm like, I don't belong on this road.
Right.
Like where, and also, where the fuck are you going? We started talking about how fake show business can be
Yep,
and
yep.
how we sort of sell our smile. And I know that doesn't sound that weird because we're all like
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
selling
yeah.
our smile to each other. But if you can really get back in touch with like base humanity,
Mm-hmm.
like what it means to be alive, like hundreds, thousands of years ago as a human being, that is like the fucking
all it is about. That's all it is.
saddest
Yeah.
idea
I
is
know.
that you would. I remember I went to Uganda and one of the things I was a teenager was people were like, Americans smile when they're not happy. I was like,
Yeah, because we're lying.
and I was like you, I was like, wow, you've cut me to my core today. I was like, well, I'm
You
actually
did.
devastated right now. And if there's any way you can carve out, because look, I'm in show business too, and I love show business. I'm not one of these people that's like, it's a necessary evil. I sort of love all the razzmatazz.
Yeah,
Because to
yeah.
your point, sometimes you fucking need it.
Yeah.
Like you go, like I went and saw Mr. Saturday Night last night with Billy Crystal, and it was great. Were they in the mood?
yeah.
Were they in the mood?
Right.
You get in the mood, Mr. Crystal. And he does. And there's something beautiful about that. They're also selling tickets for a theater, and there's all this profit and all that stuff. Sure. But like at the end of the day, even though it's like the weirdest thing humans can be doing, it's also the most natural things humans can be doing, which is like, you're low, I'm gonna pick up a palm leaf and make you laugh.
Right,
This is
pick
like
you up,
in
yeah.
our DNA. There's a beautiful thing that Jack Kornfield taught me. It was like the beginning of society. Somebody asked this anthropologist, when do you think human civilization began? And they were expecting that maybe they were going to say fire or caves or family or whatever it might be. And they were like, we found a bone, like a really, really old human femur bone that had been mended. And he was like, that's the beginning of
somebody
society.
Fixed you, yeah.
Is somebody fixed you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound up my own ass, but like, that's comedy.
Yeah,
that's
you're fixing
this.
people. Yeah, you're trying to help. You're
like,
entertaining.
for real. Like, please don't misunderstand and think I'm saying this is like more special. That's cooking a meal for somebody.
Sure.
That's listening to somebody. That's smiling at somebody on the bus.
Yeah.
It's what we do. It's these gifts that we give away that what we say, what we do, and how we behave matters. And if I say, my example, I just did this with the other guys, but I was like, that's a cool sweatshirt. If I say that, it actually matters. Not only does it maybe make you feel nice about your sweatshirt, but you are so much more likely to remember that someone made you feel good and make someone else feel good. I don't mean to be Haley Joel Osment, pay it forward right now, but I'm just like, shit matters. And when you watch a show like How We Roll and you're watching and you're like, these are people supporting each other, as weird as it is, you're more likely to support somebody.
I
it
think
changes you.
We've said that a lot on this show, that particularly men don't do it enough to each other. Where
Yes.
like you don't like,
Girls
and
do it all
we've
the time.
we've made
They're lying
conscious
to each other,
efforts
but
to
they
be like
I'll
walking
take a
through
lie.
the office and be like, bro, nice shirt, dude. And
Yeah.
you're like, you're kind of like, oh,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
Like I remember reading something at some point in my life where it was like talking about like the amount of hugs a man gets in his life.
Wow.
Very low number comparatively
Yeah.
speaking to a woman or
Yeah.
whatever. And where the science came from, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But it was like
believe it.
It was a
1/13
Fitbit.
of
It was the
the
Fitbits. The Fitbits are tracking.
and it was like and a guy will remember like every time he's told he looks handsome or pretty, because like it doesn't happen. And women, it happens to probably too often with catcalls and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But with a guy, it's like they never get compliments. So we were like, we're gonna start doing it more. We're gonna start going through the office. And then I think we've hit a breaking point where now people are like, he just says it to everything.
Everything.
I wear.
That's so.
Now I know you're lying. Now we're chicks. Now we're just girls. We become women.
It is true though. I used to think it was so funny that you'd say "Have a good weekend," because I was like, "What does this spell?" I think I'm casting. Like, have a good, what control do any of us have over the weekend? But then the bit went like, "I'm thinking about your weekend. If you get
better have a good
laid,
one."
text me the word finance. If you get laid, I'll know what it means." But then that was my attitude before. But now my attitude is like, everything is so insanely interconnected. It's one of the reasons why advertising works. You know, you see people drinking Coke on the beach. You go like, Coke is a fun time on the beach. Use that for us. You know, that's to get you to buy soda. That is what it is. But you can also use it. Have a good weekend. I'm reminding you, for you to set an intention. That's very LA. But to be reminded of the possibility that there are
gonna
good
be good.
weekends and bad weekends.
Right. So
And
have a good one. Pick a good one.
And it slightly just points your compass towards a good weekend. We know this. When I do my podcast, the better episodes, I sit down and I go, let's fucking blow these people away.
Yeah.
The guest, with how much I'm listening, with how much I'm yes-anding their premises. And let's blow the audience. Let's have a great episode. When I sit down to write a script, I go, and I heard Paul Thomas Anderson said this when he sits down to write his movies. He goes, I want to write an amazing movie. That sounds stupid. It's not stupid, guys. Like, advertising works.
Subliminal, unconscious, subconscious,
Especially
whatever.
Instagram ads.
Yeah, let's go.
I could show you the things that I've gotten from
God.
Instagram ads. And it's insane.
All of it.
So use that for your benefit at no cost to you, just with your words, with your face, with eye contact. Give a compliment to it. I do it when I'm on stage. I sometimes talk about this, and I'll say, that's a great sweater. I guarantee that person is like, this is my lucky sweater.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Look,
Amen,
P. Holmes is famous, and he liked what I
It
wear.
costs
That's
me nothing.
crazy.
Right.
It costs,
right.
Yeah. It
Wow.
costs me nothing.
Amen, brother. That's
Yeah.
why you're doing so well. I feel like you got a lot of good things going in your life, and there's
I
a reason why.
appreciate
So,
it.
one last question before we let
Yeah.
you go. We always everybody busts Chris Stefano's balls, because I think every single comic in the world was in Crashing except for Chris Stefano. Why was Chris Stefano not in Crashing? It's because you hate his guts.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. Makes that all the time.
Three of us
Pete
again.
Holmes hates you.
Cut the camera.
I'm doing a bit. You know, that is funny. I think about that all the time as I'm like, the people that weren't on Crashing. It's like
it's not. It's just the person.
yeah, the person. Well, Neil Brennan said that to me. He was like, I wouldn't do Mark Maron's podcast if he asked me, and I was like, why? And he goes, I'm not the 590th most interesting person he knows.
Right,
and I was
right.
That is a very absurd way of looking at
it.
Yep.
Now I'll have you.
You book a show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're in the 400s on my show. My 409th guest is not the 409th
No,
most interesting
of course
person.
not. That's not how it works at all.
I book my show like
As a matter of fact,
bunch
we're getting
bullshit.
more interesting because
Of
you get
course,
bigger.
you get bigger and better.
Yeah.
But I'm also just walking around, running into people.
Right, what
I'll
interests you in
literally
the moment.
watch a show and go, oh, that guy's great. or
that's
this
what
one's
we do.
great.
Did you remind Neil that Barack Obama was like the 300th?
Yeah, he wasn't the first one.
Look, I'm not putting down Neil. But you can. Now I sound like the girl on We Crash. But the things you can choose to be offended by are endless.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm joking. I could have raised my seat if I wanted to, but if I was like, they lowered me. They lowered me. Or this is warm water.
Yeah.
This is warm.
Well, I'm a room temperature.
Room temperature, not warm. It's room temperature.
I'm a room temp water guy.
They distracted me with a bikini model. Like if you.
Yeah, you can always pick to be, upset about something.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just be like, this is all a dream. In the most beautiful
I think
way.
the people who do think like that, because I know some of, I know everyone knows some, but particularly in like entertainment, everyone kind of thinks that someone's out to get them for some reason, and I'll be like, what are you talking about? Like they did that on purpose. They did that on purpose, dude. I'm like, on what
Probably not, man.
they're like, you're not that important. They didn't do it on purpose. They didn't even think about you.
Right. They don't
It's
even know
just
that that
great
bothers you. Yeah.
Things I learned when I went to a Christian college and I was very religious, and then after my divorce, I certainly lost my faith as it appeared. And there was this time when I would go out and get loaded in New York. And the next morning, I was that person that would want to send texts to be like, I'm so sorry, I hugged you, or I'm sorry, I said you're not handsome. Like it would be that sort of stuff. And it was so liberating when somebody was like, nobody gives a shit.
Right. Yeah.
It's okay.
Everyone
they did it
was
too.
drunk.
We did it. Nobody remembers.
That was the point. Is like,
it
was this actual hidden beauty in something that you might have seen as certainly religious people would have been like, getting drunk is like wrong and evil, and it was actually beautiful. I was like, wait, the world isn't about me, and you can be a jackass, and sometimes you are too loud, and you did hug that person, or you grabbed your friend real hard, or whatever it might have been. And it's okay, because one of the best things you can do is realize that it's not about you. Mm-hmm. That's what having kids has certainly helped.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just go like, who
doesn't matter.
cares?
Yeah.
What were you worried about a month ago?
Right.
You can't what
remember.
were you worried about yesterday?
Yeah. 10 seconds ago,
So just fucking surrender. We're all the same. We're all going like, do they like me? Should I have had the water? Shut the fuck up. It's like the key.
Amen.
Shut up.
Yeah, it really is.
Everyone's doing the same thing. Just, you're in the river. Just let go and flow.
Let go and float. That's the words right there. How we roll.
CBS Thursday nights?
Thursdays after Ghost. So it's on at 9:30 on CBS. It's also on Paramount Plus. That's the one with the big mountain.
The big mountain, yep.
So please watch it. It would mean so much to me. And it matters that you watch it now, because they're watching it. It's like the old school.
Yeah.
It's like, watch it now. So please watch it now.
Get the ratings up. Yep.
It would mean a lot to me.
All right, Pete.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Pete.
you.
If you're watching on YouTube, click here to subscribe so that you get all the new episodes as they come out. And John, what should they click if they want notifications? Make sure you click thumbs up for the like. Hit that bell icon.